Mark Hunt was on a 6-fight losing streak between 2006 and 2010. His record was 5-7, and Dana White even offered to pay Hunt $400,000 to leave fighting in March 2007 when the UFC bought Pride Fighting Championships, who Hunt was fighting for at the time. But Hunt would turn his career around with 4 straight wins, including TKOs over Stefan Struve and Czech Congo. He would work his way to an interim title shot against Fabricio Verdum in November 2014 and has picked up 2 more stoppages in his last 2 fights over Antonio Bigfoot Silva and Frank Mir, and now sits at the number 8 position in the UFC heavyweight rankings.
Yeah.
Andrei Arlovski had a rough stretch in his career when he lost 4 fights between January 2009 and February 2011. It looked like his career was coming to close, but after continuing to fight for Pro Elite, 1FC, and the WSOF, Arlovski would get another shot at the UFC. He would pick up a big KO over Bigfoot Silva and pull off an upset over Travis Brown via TKO in May 2015. Under the coaching of Greg Jackson and Mike Winklejohn, he was able to win 4 straight fights in the UFC. He is currently ranked number 6 at heavyweights. In November 2011, Matt Brown had lost 4 of his last 5 fights and had a record of 12-11. His MMA career appeared to be going nowhere, but in 2012 he began a massive turnaround. He won 4 times in 2012, including defeating Stephen Thompson and knocking out Mike Swick. He would go on to stop Jordan Mean, Mike Pyle, and Eric Silva in his next 3 fights. He went from on the verge of being cut from the UFC in November 2010 after 3 straight losses to being 1 fight away from a title shot. Brown credits consistent hard work to his career turnaround.
It's just, I remain consistent and remain working hard, and when you do that, you know, good things will happen for you. Sometimes you gotta go through some hard times, but you just keep working hard and keep staying consistent, good things will happen.
Brown is currently ranked number 8 at welterweights. In 2012, Anthony Rumble Johnson was 2-2 in his last 4 fights with the UFC. He missed weight twice when he was fighting at welterweight in the UFC and decided to move up to middleweight and miss weight by 12 pounds. He lost that fight to Vitor Belfort and was cut by the UFC. Rumble would decide to move to light heavyweight, and it would be the right weight class for him. After being cut from the UFC, he would pick up 6 wins, 4 at light heavyweight, and find himself back in the UFC. He would pick up big wins over Phil Davis, Antonio Rogerio Nogueira, and Alexander Gustafsson, and earn himself a title shot against John Jones. Jones would not be able to compete due to suspension and was replaced by Daniel Cormier. Rumble would lose that interim title fight against Cormier, but since then he scored 2 strong knockout wins over Jimmy Manua and Ryan Bader, and once again finds himself right in line for another title shot in the near future. Fabricio Verdum had a rough 3 years in the last decade when he had a 3-3 record in 6 fights and went 2-2 in the UFC before being cut by the organization. It didn't appear Verdum was ever going to be considered the top heavyweight in the world, but he went on a 9-1 streak since then. He picked up a massive win over Fedor in June 2010, and since returning to the UFC in February 2012, he has gone 6-0 and defeated Roy Nelson, Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira by armbar, Travis Brown, Mark Hunt by TKO, and Cain Velasquez by guillotine to become the UFC heavyweight champion. Rafael Dos Anjos started his UFC career with 2 losses, including a brutal KO from Jeremy Stevens in RDA's UFC debut. RDA had a 4-4 record in his first 8 UFC fights. After training with Frankie Edgar and seeing the work he was putting in, RDA felt he needed to make a change and decided to start training at King's MMA in California. Since then, he's gone 10-1, including a recent 5-fight win streak. He became the UFC lightweight champion in March 2015 after defeating Anthony Pettis, and defended his belt in December 2015 against Donald Cerrone. Robbie Lawler had a 3-5 record in his 8 fights in Strikeforce between 2009 and 2012. When Strikeforce was merged into the UFC, they absorbed Lawler into the organization once again. Lawler would decide to return to welterweights and began an unbelievable career turnaround. He TKO'd Josh Koscheck in his return to the UFC in February 2013 and picked up wins over Bobby Volker and Roy McDonald to earn a title shot. He lost the decision to Johnny Hendricks in that title bout, but would defeat Jake Ellenberger and Matt Brown in his next 2 fights, earn a rematch with Hendricks, and pick up a split decision win to become the UFC welterweight champion. He defended his belt against Rory McDonald in July 2015 and picked up a split decision win over Carlos Condit in January 2016.